Boston Celtics get the blowout win, but they lose Kristaps Porzingis to a calf injury. This makes Game 5 a must-win. I'll talk about it all right now from Miami, the Kaseya Center, hopefully for the last time right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster brand, it's holiday season. Drop Drew in the mix, and 3 from KP. No, we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Juice, still Beantown's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in Locked On after. Karalis on the breakdown. Clutch like a tip from D. White on the breakdown. John on the mic, documenting domination. Matter pen a back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and Jay's how it started, raising banners, how we finish. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here in the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I've got you covered every Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts on the weekends, whenever they play, bonus podcasts throughout the playoffs here. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcast, whatever device you use, whatever app you use, it's there. It's the #1 Boston Celtics podcast in the world. So it's everywhere. It's on YouTube. Get in the comment section. Let me know what you think. If you're new to the show, my name is John Karalis. Used to play a long time ago. Now I'm a beat writer here, traveling, covering the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. Today, we're talking about the Boston Celtics taking a 3-1 lead, 102-88, another blowout win. Cut to 14 in the fourth quarter. Another fourth quarter was like, we'd all like to see them play the full 48. We'd all like to see them have that, finishing kick. Still not a fan of them playing super slow. The lead got cut down to a place where it was not, they weren't threatened. Like it was never in any danger of them losing, but they still made it, I don't know, interesting, I guess. So, but whatever. It's a win. You never apologize for winning a playoff game by 14 points to go up 3-1. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. The big story, obviously, here is the Kristaps Porzingis injury. Second quarter, he's dribbling down the left sideline. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm right here at the Kaseya Center in Miami, and it's right over my shoulder here, that left sideline, coming down to run a handoff with Jaylen Brown, and he pulls up and immediately signals for the sub. So right away, we get the thing that's the scariest to see on a basketball court: a non-contact injury, a player pulling up and immediately knowing I have to get out of this game. He calls for the sub right away, and he gingerly walks off, limps off the floor. Now, he had turned his left ankle a little bit earlier in the quarter, but this was the right calf, diagnosed as right calf tightness. And then Adrian Wojnarowski afterwards tweeted out that it appears that Porzingis has avoided any kind of serious Achilles injury. So if you're a regular listener to the show, I am always afraid, calf injury, Achilles injury, that they're both related, because the Achilles tendon is what holds the calf to the bone, right? Achilles tendon, the tendon is what holds muscles to bone. Ligaments is what holds joints together. So whenever I hear calf strain, I'm always afraid, okay, is there any sort of Achilles element to this? Now, we won't know until the imaging, but there are tests that you can do. You can manipulate the leg. You can, if the muscle is somehow compromised by an Achilles injury, you can tell by how the leg moves. The doctors, the physiologists, the trainers, they understand what it feels like in the leg to have that. So if they have done the initial testing, just the initial evaluation, and said, okay, the Achilles is intact, and it's a very, like when you rupture an Achilles tendon, it's a very obvious thing that happened. So he didn't do that. Now, is it a strain of the Achilles? Is it just a strain of the calf? The imaging will tell us a little bit more about what all that is. But For now, it seems like he's avoided the most serious injury, but the question becomes what's next? And that's where we don't know. He walked out of here with the walking boot on. Is it a few days? Is it a week? Is it 3 weeks? Is it 6 weeks? That's up for the MRI to show and for the doctors to evaluate, and for the Celtics to be super, super careful about. If it's a grade 2 sprain and it's a 3 to 6 week thing, 6 weeks puts you right around the NBA Finals. The good thing is Boston should get past Miami in Game 5 without Porzingis. It's not imperative. Now, I know that the Celtics got Porzingis specifically for the Miami matchup. Horford will do, especially because Miami is so shorthanded. It's a 3-1 lead, and that should still be enough to get past the Miami Heat. Okay. Then you play either Orlando or Cleveland and should be able to beat those teams without Porzingis. Then you get to presumably New York, just by the way they're playing, but it could be any number. It could be Indiana, could be, we'll see how the rest of the series play out. But if you get to New York, you'd still love to have Kristaps Porzingis. Can you beat the Knicks without Porzingis? Yeah, you could even do that. So the East is set up where the Celtics can make it through the East without Porzingis. So if it is a 6-week thing, it hurts their chances a little bit. It definitely makes the road a little bit tougher. But the good thing is they have, I think, the capability of getting past all of those teams. But this makes Game 5 just so important to close out this series. You don't want to extend things. Now, 2 reasons why Game 5 to me is just a must win. You have to do this. Aside from me just not wanting to be here anymore, I'm sorry, Kaseya Center. I don't want to come back to Miami. No offense to the city of Miami. I've actually enjoyed my weekend here. I don't want to come back. But besides that, first of all, we just want to see the Celtics not extend a series that they can put away. The Porzingis injury hurts that a little bit, but it's still, the Celtics should still win this in 5. Porzingis or no Porzingis, Horford is enough. Luke Cornett can play. He can do a good job. You can throw Xavier Tillman in there. He can be okay. You can throw Nemajic Queta in there. He can give you some minutes. This Miami Heat team is just not good enough the way they are currently constituted. And if the Celtics defense plays the way it's capable of, it won't matter that they don't have Porzingis. So I want to see the Celtics close out this series and not mess around and take it to 6. So that's number 1. Number 2, you have Horford now. Horford's going to be your starting center. That changes things. He's going to be playing more minutes. So if you can close this series out in 5 and get him some extra rest, who knows how long Cleveland, Orlando is going to go, but they play on Tuesday night. That series is tied 2-2. So that's going to go at least 6 no matter what. So let that series play out. If it goes according to form, that could go to 7. So let them do their thing and let Boston rest and practice and have Al Horford in a controlled environment where you can control his cardio and you can control everything a little bit more and just keep him away from Bam Adebayo. Keep him away from the chippy Miami series. All of that, it makes it super important. And on top of that, you're going to rely on Luke Cornett. You're going to be relying on maybe Xavier Tillman and maybe Nemajic Queta. The more practice time now that you get with those guys to work through some things, to maybe experiment, to kind of test different lineups in the practice, that is now an opportunity to get some reps, get some minutes, some practice minutes under the belt with these different potential lineups. Guys that might not have been in a playoff series are now going to get some time in whatever next series is. Get them the playoff, get them the practice time that they're going to need to to make the contribution, right? To get the rest of the guys to feel comfortable with whatever the game plan is going to be for Cleveland or Orlando. So I believe that any extra time you can get these guys, any extra reps you can get them in practice, anything you can do to get them, and they're already comfortable with each other, right? But because it's a playoff game plan, you just want to get the timing, you want to get the chemistry down. So this makes game 5 extraordinarily important, more important than just, hey, we don't want to see the Celtics mess around. The Porzingis injury, to me, makes it got to win game 5 so you can get these guys on the same page, get Horford the rest that he needs, and now you can move forward. Let's talk about this game. Let's talk about the game that Derrick White had and this blowout win. We'll talk about all of that in just a second. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash. It's Mother's Day. Mother's Day is right here, and you want to get something from her. You want to surprise mom with something. So DoorDash is going to help you do that because, you can order from anything. You can, if mom is into flowers, you can go to the flower shop. If there's a retail store, if your mom's into like tech stuff, gadgety stuff, sure, that's on DoorDash too. Makeup, that's on DoorDash. Whatever it is, you can probably find it on DoorDash. And you can get up to 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more with the code LOCKEDONNBA. It's very important that you use that code LOCKEDONNBA because that's going to get you the deal on DoorDash, 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more. This is a great opportunity because mom's not going to see it coming, right? She's not going to see you, your car, or anything like that. She's going to see some random person, which, I know how that sounds, but that's going to be the surprise. She's going to see the DoorDash come up, and that's a great way to kind of sneak in a little Mother's Day gift. So why not do that? Get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order right now on DoorDash with the promo code LOCKEDONNBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On Sports Today, streaming 24/7 on YouTube, also on the free Amazon Fire TV Channels app. Go check it out. It's real sports talk, all the national stories, all the big stories. Locked On Celtics makes many appearances on that show because the Celtics are national news, baby. The Celtics are the best team in the NBA, and they are heavily featured. Go check it out. Real sports talk, real conversations, not fake yelling like these other national shows. All right, I want to just say I'm impressed with the Celtics being able to get this blowout win because 17 points from Jaylen Brown on 7 of 18 shooting, 20 points from Jayson Tatum on 5 of 14 shooting. They didn't shoot particularly well. Tatum had, 20 points, 11 rebounds, which is nice, 5 assists, which is nice. They were both pretty heavy on the plus minus. Jaylen was the plus minus leader, so he didn't have a great shooting night, but he was there for a positive impact. 6 turnovers was not great, but he, did play some defense. Tatum, the 20 points, just 1 turnover, did other things, rebounding. The 11 rebounds is big, but that's not combining. Those guys combining for 37 is not the best thing in the world, right? But they still put up 102. In the playoffs, getting up over that 100 mark is okay against the Miami Heat team. That's okay. They got 11 points from Holiday. They got 7 points from Porzingis before he left. They got 9 points off the bench. But it was Derrick White, 38 points, 15 of 26 shooting, 8 of 15 from 3. Amazing. Plus 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and three blocked shots for Derrick White. That makes this a blowout win. At one point, they were leading by 28 points. I'm not going to say the Celtics defense was great, but it was good enough. And they had stretches where it was really good. And Miami starts out 2 of 4, and you're like, okay, Miami is going to actually let it fly. And they finished the night 9 of 33. So after 2 of 4, they went 7 of 29. None of that is good. They shot 27%. They look like they were on pace to put up another 43s, and they got 33 of them up. But that Miami offense is just awful. It's just awful. The Celtics defense, like I said, was good, not great. It had moments where it was like, okay, they didn't close out. They weren't daring Miami to shoot, but they also had some. They let Miami get a couple of open looks, but the Heat just couldn't hit anything. And the defensive game plan seemed to be run those guys off the line, get them to drive and take 2-pointers, and they would live with everything that Bam Adebayo did. Bam Adebayo, if you say every game, 25 points on 22 shots, sign me up for that, because Bam Adebayo is not going to beat you offensively. What Bam does, we talked about it in the crossover with Locked On Heat heading into this game. Bam is a great supplemental scorer. He's a great finishing scorer. After you've gotten up 10 points, then if Bam Adebayo wants to shoot 50%, which he was 11 of 22. That's not bad. If he wants to shoot 50% from 2 to help close out a game, absolutely. That's great. That's when Adebayo does his job, because like I say, when you're up in the fourth quarter, you just need buckets, and Bam getting those mid-range buckets in the middle of the paint, that's fine. But if your main scoring is coming from Bam Adebayo, if he's going to be your primary scorer, you're not going to win a lot of games, Miami. It's just not going to happen. So I think the game plan to live with whatever Bam did is fine. So great. 25 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists. People in Miami are going to look at that and be like, Bam did what he was supposed to do. And yeah, he did. Bam's game would have been great if Caleb Martin Martin actually ended up shooting 4 of 8 from 3, but that was later. He didn't hit them when they needed to early. Tyler Hero, I thought he was going to have a 40-point game in this one because he had a stinker the game before, but he didn't do much. Bam's game would have been better if they had hit 35% of their threes, 40% of their threes, and this game would have gone differently. But this game plan for the Celtics worked very, very well. Miami's offense, it's just not good enough. It's not good enough. And if the Celtics are going to play any level of defense where they had a couple possessions, they had one early on where Miami was really hunting the 3-pointer, and they had some 3 or 4 really good closeouts in a row, and it ended up being a Bam Adebayo turnover. And I was like, that's it. That's the winning strategy. So again, without Porzingis in game 5, they can still do that. Al Horford can protect the rim. He can do a good job of that. And if Miami wants to score on 2-pointers, by all means, hit all the 2-pointers you want, because there's a good chance that even if they hit a ridiculous amount of 2-pointers, Boston's going to still win the battle. They each put up 86 shots. Boston only hit one more shot, but it was 14 of 37 from 3 for Boston. So 5 more 3-pointers. That's a 15-point difference, and they won by 14. So that's it right there. The Celtics also got to the line 16 of 18. So Miami was 9 of 12. So Miami hit a ton of 2-pointers, but the math doesn't work out for them. That math equation is not going to get them a win. Just be careful. Do not let them get comfortable early in game 5. I'm begging you. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow, but I'm just begging you to close this thing out. All right. Got to get to Derrick White, because Derrick White was amazing. And the shots that he hit, what a luxury for the Boston Celtics. We'll talk about that in just a second. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. for a reason, because you, as a new customer, you sign up, you get $150 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed no matter what. We know it's the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. We got Major League Baseball there now in full swing. So go to FanDuel, place your bet on whatever game you want to bet on, and once you place that bet, you get $150 in bonus bets, because it doesn't matter if you win or lose. So bet on whatever you want: slap shots, home runs, slam dunks. It's all on an app that's super safe, very secure. It's easy to use. Your payouts come out quickly. When you win, you get it right away. So go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make your first bet an automatic win, and use the tools that FanDuel gives you so you can set your limits, set your budget. This is something that's supposed to be fun. So if you've got a few extra bucks lying around and you know what your budget is, set it up on FanDuel, use your disposable income, spend it how you want. And if you want to do it on FanDuel and have a little bit of fun, you can do it responsibly at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. Get the whole league covered. I'll be there on the Wednesday show. I'm flying back to Boston on Tuesday, so I'll be back in time for the playoff games. That means I'm going to be there with Jake Madison. His team sadly eliminated in the playoffs, so he'll have plenty of time. I'm sorry, Jake, but I will be there with him on the Locked On NBA podcast. So go check it out. It's a fun show. I like it. Derrick White was incredible, amazing, hitting three-pointers. So he starts out hot, right? But the confidence to take that shot over and over and over again, the confidence that he has to make these shots is incredible. He says it starts with Joe, that he loves playing for Joe Mazzulla, that they have open line of communication. He can talk to Joe. Joe can talk to him. So he said, I love playing for Joe, which, just side note, can we just side note this? Holiday has come out and said, Joe Mazzulla made me see the game in a way that I wasn't seeing the game defensively, and gave Joe a ton of credit for that. Derrick White says, the confidence I have is, from Joe, and it's helping me like reach these levels, and I love playing for Joe. So there's two key guys on this team that have given Joe the credit for a lot of what they've been able to accomplish. Can we please give Mazzulla the credit for being the coach that's that's getting this out of his players? You have to give him the credit for doing that. Just putting that out there, Joe Mazzulla deserves that credit. He is a good coach. So people, I know what the comments look like. I know people are going to be in the comments saying, Joe doesn't know what he's doing, but he does. I am telling you, he does. All right, fine, whatever. I look forward to people yelling at me in the comments. You can't win until you win. That's the story of Joe Mazzulla. Until they win a championship, he's not going to be any kind of coach in some people's eyes. And even after he wins a championship, people are going to say, well, they won in spite of him. Whatever. That's trash. Whatever. Derrick White comes out hitting from three and has the confidence to take those threes. And then when it comes time to drive, he drives. And when it comes time to cut, he cuts. And the two dunks that he had in that third quarter stretch, it was a little 8-2 run that the Celtics used to basically, that to me was the turning point of the game, where that was the momentum was clearly in Boston's favor. Derrick White was going off. They finished it with a transition dunk from Jaylen Brown. That was the turning point. But Derrick White caught two dunks. One, look, I don't want to get into the officiating or anything like that. It's different. The playoffs are different. But when a guy goes up for a dunk and he gets hit from behind and it affects his ability to land, I will just say that was dangerous. When a guy gets fouled from behind like that on a dunk, you have to call that foul. You have to protect vulnerable players in the air. That's just something you have to do. So do it. Anyway, Derrick White gets that dunk, gets another dunk afterwards. After they call a timeout, Derrick White's like bouncing back to the bench. I got him again. I got him again. I got him again. It was a real fun thing to see that just that whole feeling, that bouncy, like that momentum shift was amazing. And Derrick White is like this guy. I know he's 29 years old. I don't want to get into off-season stuff, but man, I feel so important. It feels so important for Derrick White to stick around in Boston. He's so good. He is so good. He processes the game so quickly. He is such a good defender. He is such a good player. I mean, I can't say any more without absolutely gushing about him, which I'm doing anyway. He is absolute beast of a basketball player. Just an amazing, like they need to keep him around. He was amazing. And on a night where Tatum and Brown weren't their absolute dominant best, here he comes. He's the ultimate gap filler. What do you need? You need somebody to distribute. He can get you 10 assists. You need somebody to score. He can get you 38, career high 38 points. He can go out there and do what you need him to do. And he's fine with whatever it is. That's the best part. Let's wrap this up with the Bam Adebayo, Jayson Tatum after the whistle play, where, look, this has gotten out of control. And it starts with, you go back to the Joe Mazzulla challenging the shot. Forget what game it was, but he's challenging a player shot, which was funny and still remains funny, but like also is objectively insane. And Al Horford said it after the game because Al Horford was pissed. Tatum goes up for an after the whistle 3-pointer. Bam Adebayo slides in to try and challenge it. Gets into Tatum's landing spot. Tatum falls, turns his left ankle. He's fine, but he was like the same ankle that he turned in Game 7 last year against the Heat. The same ankle that he's tweaked multiple times. You can't keep injuring that ankle. So they end up calling a flagrant on Adebayo, and Al Horford rips into the refs. He gets a technical foul, which he didn't deserve because at that point, like he was sticking up for Jayson Tatum. But whatever, it's fine. Can we just stop with this stupid notion of like you have to challenge all of these post whistle shots? We're getting to a point where the post whistle shots are getting defended harder than the in-game shots. And maybe I'm reacting or overreacting to the result of the play, the foul. But Al Horford said it after the game. It's like we're getting to a point where this is like it's too much. You know, they should, if a guy's putting up a shot after the whistle, just let it be. It's not that important, right? And Joe Mazzulla's like, no, you gotta challenge that. And I get it. The gamesmanship, I get it. You don't want somebody who's not hitting. Who was one of the offers in Haywood Highsmith, 0 for 3. You don't want Haywood Highsmith to get in after the whistle all alone, put up a 3-pointer, have it go and have him be like, oh, okay, finally, I get it. I feel it now, and have him hit 2-3 and then have that be the difference of the game. I understand that concept, but also it doesn't mean you have to fly at the guy and potentially hurt the person after the whistle. Like some limitations here, some I don't know, sanity. And I don't think Bam Adebayo was trying to hurt Tatum, but also it's a little reckless. The same thing as the other day. It's just a little reckless, you know? So that's, I don't want to make too big of a deal of it and that's why I saved it for last. I didn't tease it. I saved it for last for a reason. I think the whole thing was stupid and Tatum is fine, so it doesn't really matter. But just the whole concept of you got to challenge the shots after the whistle. Can we just let that go, please? All right, Boston Celtics win this. They go up 3-1. They've won these 2 games in Miami by a combined 34 points. You're going home. You got to close this out in game 5. I understand it would be a very Celtics thing to do to win these 2 games in Miami, go on the road, look good, look dominant, look like it's easy, and then come home in game 5 and blow it somehow and lose and have to close this series out, have to come back to Miami, and you win 3 out of your 4 games on the road. Like, it's a very Celtics thing to do. So just don't do it that way. Go home, close it out at home, be done with it. Be done with it. I can't tell you how many times I said it to everybody in this building. I'm not coming back here. I am not coming back here. Don't make me do it. Don't make me a liar, Boston Celtics. Close this thing out. Thank you for listening. If you're new to the show, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. If you're on the YouTube page, get into the comment section. Ring the bell there so you get notified when I drop these videos, even though it's late after these post games. But do that and share the podcast. Spread the word. Tell everybody that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.